Welcome to this reflection with me on the issue of leadership. We've been looking and discussing at three qualifications of a leader. Now we will look at the fourth one, and that is skill. Now we talk about gifts and talents, we talk about knowledge, and now we will go into skills. As a leader, you may have gifts and passion, you may have a lot of knowledge of the area, the context you want to lead, but to be an accomplished leader, you need to have skills. Now, what is a skill? A skill is the learned ability to perform a task effectively. A skill is something that you have learned, and that learning enables you to perform a task, to do something effectively. Now, what types of skill do you need as a leader? We can look at skills from different angles in many ways. People are talking about a hard skill, soft skill, so on and so forth. But for a leader, here are 5 skills that are important according to me. To be a leader, because you need to lead somebody, you have to have a visionary skill. That means you can see far ahead, you can think about the future. It's called visionary skill. Then, in order to implement your vision, you have to talk to people. You have to deal with people. So therefore, we are looking about the people skill. How to deal with people, how to act and react with people, how to guide people, so on and so forth. So you need to have people skill. Then, between your vision and people, you have to communicate. You have to communicate with the people. So communication skill is very important. And this skill is not only really in terms of you talking, but also in terms of people talking. And so you need to have a skill of listening. So communication is, both talking to people and also receiving from the people. So you need both to know how to talk, how to discuss with people, how to communicate with people, but also how to listen to people. So you need communication skills. But as a leader, in the midst of so many voices, you have to have a skill of decision making. Because at the end of the day, in spite of all the noises, in spite of all the advices that you get from many people, it's you ultimately, as a leader, who has to take decision. So therefore, you need a skill of decision making. But also, as you do all these, you also need to have a skill of setting goal. How to set goal? Because when you have a vision and you imagine where you want to go, you need to set a specific goal. And this goal may be a long-term goal. It may be a few years ahead of time, or also including the short-term goal. Because as you go along, you lead people along. You need to reach this goal ultimately, but in the journey, you have to have many goals. So you need to learn how to set goals. To me, these are the 5 things that are important for a leader to have these skills. Visionary skills, people skill, communication skills, decision making skills, and setting goal skill. Now we can ask ourselves, you can ask yourself as a leader, how do you improve your skill to become skillful? How do you improve your skills? All the skills that I mentioned, how do you improve them? How you get better and better? I think there are few things that I want to mention. 4 things actually, maybe, because there will be many, but there are 4 things that are important. Number 1, experience. This is the experience that as you experience in your journey, you learn more. You learn from the failures. You learn from not making it up. Sometimes you fail, but then you learn through experience. Then you become more skillful. But before experience, even, number 2, I want to talk about practice, because you cannot have experience without the courage to start. So start your journey, start leading. That is so important, because so many people, why they fail to be a leader is because they are afraid of starting. You need a courage to start. So practice comes. Once you practice, then you have experience, and through failures, through up and down, you can learn. You can become more skillful in the process, because you will have failures and success, and you become more skillful. You also need to have patience, tenacity, meaning in the midst of challenges, you will not give up. Many leaders have started well. They've got experience, but when they face these challenges, they drop out, they give up. So there is a need to be steadfast, to have patience in leading the people. Then, you have to also have an attitude of, which means what I would say is teachability. You have to feel that you have many things to learn, and so you need to listen to all those who can teach you. And that is an attitude that you need to learn more. And with this attitude, we have to have a spirit of humility, an attitude of humility. When you fail, you try again. That's humility. When you face challenge, seek help from others. That's humility. I have a great example in the Bible about a man named David. David was a king. And even the psalmist said this: God called David, God chose David to lead Israel, in humility. So this is found in chapter 78, 72, where God called David to lead Israel, to help them in their journey. And so he led them with a skillful hands. So we saw in David, we saw his courage. His courage when he was a young man. He was fighting Goliath, that no soldier in his days dared to fight a Goliath. But David, with God, dared to start. That is courage. And we know in the history of David, he had so many failures. But he got up. He humbled himself. He got up and fight again. And he learned from all those failures that he had along the way. And he was patient. He was waiting. In so many instances, how he waited. He waited upon God. He waited upon his followers. He waited upon himself. He waited for time. And so tenacity, waiting, patience is very important. But as I said again, he humbled himself. Humility is so important. So you remember this because these are so important along the way. So to become really skillful, let us learn from David. Let's learn from this episode in which I would say, have a courage to start. Have a courage to start leading. Have a patience to grow in your skills. And then have an attitude to keep learning to fulfill the purpose for which you are called to. Have a patience to learn to improve your skills because it takes time, and humble yourself. So may I ask you a question? Do you want to lead? Keep growing your skills. If you feel this is helpful or you have questions, do comment on this channel. Please also like, subscribe, and share.